The Minnesota Media Archive is brought to you by North Metro TV. Your support helps make the archive possible. Please consider a one-time donation. The past comes alive at North Metro TV, where we can help you transfer your old videotapes, films, cassette tapes, record albums, and even photographs and slides to DVD and digital so you can enjoy them again. North Metro TV, bringing the past to life.
Okay, and we're back. Going from left to right on your screen in the blue is the Minnesota Thunder, and going from right to left in the white will be the Indiana Blast. I'm Kevin Lagos along with Christian Collin. We're joined here by Jonathan James at the start of this game. JJ, really quickly, what do you think the Thunder's chances are against the Blast?
It's tough to say. I think the Thunder are well prepared, as always, by Coach Lagos. The team seems to have a very methodical yet creative way of playing and finding open spaces. And usually the first 15 or 20 minutes are just sort of probing and looking for what types of weaknesses the opponent brings and looking for openings. So it could be kind of an interesting beginning, and we'll see what happens. The pitch is in gorgeous shape, so the ball shoot bounce pretty true. There's no inclement weather around. There's no wind like we can get up here with the tornadoes in Blaine. So it should be a really fabulous game.
Okay, an early foul there by Mika Monami for the Blast. Free kick for Minnesota taken by John Coughlin. Don Grametz plays the ball up to Gerard Lagos along the line. Gerard is offside. Now, against a seasoned team like the Blast, Gerard's going to have to watch himself because he likes playing up pretty far, and he has a tendency to be caught offsides. In recent games, he has been caught offsides quite a few times. I wonder if that's one of those things that Coach Lagos will actually talk to him about. Ball played in, cleared out there by Sylvester. And Indiana controls in the middle. Once again, this is to Sylvester. The starters for this evening. First, Indiana. Chuck Broder will be starting in goal. Foster, Parrish, Pickup, and Crawford rounding out the defense. Chris Duff, Sweeney, Menk, and Ba will be in the midfield. James and Moner will be the forwards. Here's a chance for the Thunder. Don Grametz with the ball. And across. Goal kick.
Kevin and Christian, what kind of makes this a little bit interesting is the homecoming of John Menk, Chris Duff, and Tim Foster. So it's nice to see those guys. Unfortunately, I'd like to see them in the Thunder's uniform, but really nice to see them playing, and we should see what they do tonight.
It is very nice to see them once again. It's nice to see that they're doing very well. And hopefully they won't take it too hard against us and by scoring any goals against the Minnesota Thunder. Here's Gerard Lagos with an opportunity, heading it back. Cleared out nicely. Looks like a dangerous play called free kick for Indiana. Starting in goal for Minnesota, number 1, John Swallen. Defenders, Coughlin, Sylvester, Bankoff, and Gremens. Gentile, Zeba, Nowak, and Mladenov leading out the midfielders. Gerard Lagos and Paul Schneider will be the forwards for your Thunder. This is Tim Foster. Playing the ball up to Chad James. Defended there by John Coughlin. And across. Headed out nicely by Mike Gentile. Foul called. John Sylvester fouled on the play. Foul on number 21, Emeka Minomi. The officials for this evening's match. The referee, Mike Yonan. First lines, Jeff Philippek, Schrader. James Schrader will be the second line, and Kane Lamb will be the fourth official.
Let's go, Thunder, work it!
Ball broken up there by Moneme. Defended nicely by Sylvester. Swallen looks to Grimenz. Gerard Lagos touches it back. Played out by John Mink. It'll be a throw-in for your Thunder. Now, Don Grimenz took the throw, although he's got that cast, which is wrapped very padded on his hand. He was able to take that throw. Ball headed out nicely there by John Mink. Here comes John Sylvester along the outside. Sylvester with the cross. Just a bit too high for Lagos, and a shot. Blocked nicely there by Mink. Indiana with the clear.
Good little bit of work there by Johnny Sylvester. Just before that, John Sylvester showed a great bit of confidence in his goalkeeper, touching that back and curling outside. John Swallen turned that ball out to Donnie Grimenz immediately, and if one noticed, Donnie Grimenz played that ball up across the top, bypassing the midfield. And that's the second or the third time that we saw that, and perhaps this is a tactic the Thunder are looking at, maybe that bypassing the midfield and going straight to the forwards. Perhaps they believe they can get some advantage that way and then pull the midfield into support that way. But on the last attack, John Sylvester again got himself a nice little run up the right side, and that's one of the ways that they can pull John Sylvester into the play and get across there. So it's nice to see a pretty good start. We'll see if this develops later into the game.
Okay, after the goal kick, John Coughlin with the header. Stoyan Mladinov was fouled on the play. Here Sylvester again, maybe we'll get a chance to see a little bit of his speed. Up to Gerard Lagos in the box, unable to hold on. Number 17, Peter Ba with the clear. There's Coughlin again. This is number 21, Emeka Minomi. Johnny Sly once again. And it was left nicely. Morgan Ziba. But didn't go to anyone.
Foul called on number 3.
Paul Schneider called for the foul. Peter Ba was fouled on the play. It'll be a free kick for Indiana.
Interestingly, no team has established itself yet. They are each looking for the right tempo. The wins must be affecting the ability to settle the ball and control the tempo for both teams anyway. Although Minnesota has had quite a few creative plays on the right flank, as you indicated earlier, John, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, you're right, Christian. At first look, I didn't see much of a wind, but there does seem to be a steady little breeze coming across the field, straight into the goal of the Indiana team. So
this is Lauren Crawford with the cross. John Swallen rises to the occasion. Routine ball for him. His distribution leads a little bit to be desired. Parrish breaks up the play. Indiana controls in the midfield. Broken up there by Mike Gentile. Too far for Gerard Lagos. John Coughlin with a defensive clear. Christoph plays it back in. To Gramenz, back to Christoph again for the blast. This is Chad James. I assume that he's no relation to you, Jonathan.
All the Jameses are related somehow. Even King James.
Number 3, Casey Sweeney with the shot. Bounced off the head of Monome. Cleared out.
Just a little joke. Might as well claim fame in some way. You can't get close.
Well, there's royalty in your family.
Oh, nice little touch there.
Number 6.
And a great bit of defending by Tim Foster. And this is, I mean, Tim knew that ball was going to be played across and curled. Had that ball gone over Tim, Gerard Lagos was free and clear. And of course, on those types of runs, Gerard is deadly. He rarely misses an opportunity like that. So, fortunately, Tim's header back to the goalkeeper preserved a goal, I would say.
Well, Tim has proven himself in the past. When he played for the Thunder, he had that a knack of being able to read all sorts of players. He was able to read John Swallen pretty well, and unfortunately for us, it's working against us at this point in time. Broder with it clear. Ball kept alive. There's Gerard Lagos. And the cross. Ziba, a little bit too far for Ziba. Here comes Johnny Sly. Back to Morgan. Morgan's wide open. Gentile tied up in the middle there.
See, that's a little unfortunate there. John Sylvester did well to support the play, but that ball played in. We don't know what's going on in the moment here, but Gentile getting that ball back there and doing a little bit of dancing didn't serve much there. He should immediately play the ball through or get a shot off or do something with it, but he seemed to wind himself into the ground a little bit there.
It looks like Casey Sweeney was called for a foul, but number 6, Morgan Ziba, wasn't able to contain himself as he took a little shot after the play. Little yellow card. Well, once again, we'll be able to see it. John Coughlin is going down. Morgan Ziba gains control of the ball, and he is fouled, and he retaliates. He's earned himself a yellow card for that.
Needlessly, I might add. Well, professional players ought to be able to contain themselves. So earlier on in the game, this type of mental lapse really doesn't serve the team well.
No, you're right, Christian. That's really a bad foul, and especially from behind, it's totally unnecessary. But often that happens when players aren't prepared or don't get the ball and they feel a little frustration, give a kick. And you're right, especially early in the game when your mind should be into it. So we'll see what he does now in recovery, see if he just works himself a little bit harder on defense to get back.
Well, hopefully he'll be able to remain in the game. He has a little bit of a hot head, but when he's on his game, he's on very well. This is John Coughlin. Up forward to Gerard Lagos, a little flick on. Able to keep it in, no. Just a bit too far for Paul Schneider. It'll be a throw-in for the Blast. As mentioned earlier, Indiana did play yesterday in Milwaukee, and although they outshot Milwaukee, they did come away with a 1-0 defeat. Fouls on Mike Gentile. Number 10, Christoph, was going to take the kick, left it for number 18, John Pickup. Ball kept alive by John Mink for the Blast. Cleared out by, almost out by John Sylvester. Peter Ba. John Sylvester is onside. Let's see his speed. Sylvester with the cross. Anybody home? Oh, cleared out nicely by Tim Foster. Once again, Sylvester, Johnny Sly, Pushes the ball back to Ziba. Ziba pushes the ball across. Not quite far enough for Mladenov.
Corner kick coming up for the
Corner kick for Minnesota, taken quickly by Mladenov. And across. John Mink kicks that away. Dan Gremens pushes it back across. Cleared out once again. Chad James on the ball. Lauren Crawford pushes the ball forward. Colin Bankoff. Good bit of defense.
Christian, the Thunder seem to be playing a few balls in there and driven crosses, and those seem to be somewhat effective, although the defensive Indiana seemed to withstand there. Is there any way that they could play those balls better to get themselves an opportunity?
Well, I think they have to get their footing, and the conditions there are treacherous, and there's an opportunity for Thunder. It's cleared out. The Indiana defense has done very well in being able to cover the zones and intercept those Thunder drives from way out. But here's another opportunity. Gerard Lagos jumps for it. It's going to be cleared off by Chris Duff, a former Thunder player. The former Thunder players for the Indiana team are playing very well this evening as well.
I think that there's a little bit of hometown pride that is associated with anybody who comes back home.
Unless, of course, that's what you forgot.
John Swallen with the clear. Pushes it directly into Casey Sweeney. Taken there by Mladenov. Dan Gremens.
However, Christian, one thing I do like about the Thunder is that they are attacking, and they're looking and probing and taking some chances at goal. And even if they aren't getting their footing quite, they are taking some chances. John Sylvester has done quite well in that last run, and I hate to point out Johnny every time, but one thing he did nice is get around the defense and try and play that ball so that defenders have to start spinning. And when they start spinning, they lose track of where they are on the field. So a very effective run, and I do like the way that the last 3 or 4 crosses have been driven so that they're not just lofted and picked out by a goalkeeper.
That's correct. You know that the Thunder attacking scheme revolves a lot about the overlapping runs of the outside defenders. In this case, Donny Gremens on the left side and Johnny Sylvester to the right. That's another interception by Tim Foster.
And one of the things that both Donny Gremens and John Sylvester bring to the Thunder is the ability to get back in defense, even though they're overlapping. So these are tireless workers.
These are very skillful midfielders. They played midfield in their high school teams, respective teams, and their college teams as well, and attackers as well. So they are not unfamiliar with the traits of good attacking players. And that has served
To all of you who have those brand new
Last play was a little bit too far for Paul Schneider. Indiana had the throw in. Intercepted there by Coughlin, who plays it back in. This will be an easy one for Chuck Broder. Earlier, Chuck did try and make a save and he slipped. It looks like there's a little bit of mud down in that goal area. And the Thunder might have the advantage if they utilize that and taking some low, hard driving shots. Broder with the clear. Played back in by Gremens. Too far for Paul Noah. And if you take a look at your screens, in the Central Division, Minnesota has 15 wins, 5 losses for 59 points, and they're second place behind US Pro 40 Select. Indiana, with 9 wins and 14 losses, has 36 points. Here's an opportunity for Indiana, cleared out nicely by John Coughlin. Here comes Morgan Ziba along the outside. Oh, Ziba!
That is a great bit of skill.
Just fantastic move, and across, just too far for Gerard Lagos. Played out wide. Number 9, Tim Foster, I believe, had the clear. It'll be a corner kick for Minnesota.
Well, I would have to say that perhaps Ziba is back into it a little bit, making amends for his tackle from behind there. He slipped the ball between the defender's legs, then got his head up quickly to see who was making the run.
That play was electrifying. And Ziba is known for his clinical crosses from the right side. In fact, from both sides of the field, that's an opportunity. The keeper stops it.
Chuck Roeder
Authoritatively, I might add.
with the save off of the corner.
Wonderful little bit of work there from Ziba. Let's see if we can get him in the play again. And boy, you're right, Christian. Electrifying at the least, and perhaps just a couple inches would have had a goal. It appeared to be offside, but Johnny Sylvester comes back, cleans it up. And this time, the linesman does call it offside, while John Swallen makes a save.
John Swallen's a little bit slow to get up on the play, but he's on his feet now.
Well, he was stepped on by Chad James, number 7 for the Indiana Blast. The referee did not call that. John Coughlin was already on the ground. Here's an opportunity for Gerard. It's going to be a corner kick. A corner kick for Minnesota. This was an end-to-end play. As soon as John Swallen got up, the Thunder played the ball way downfield.
Ladnoff will be taking the corner. There's a stoppage on the play.
A yellow card there for dissent. That was Chris Duff. Probably uttered a few expletives for reasons we do not quite know. That earned for him a yellow card. Here comes the corner.
Ladnoff with the corner. John Coughlin gets up high, just over his head, cleared out there by Chad James. Here comes Minomi. Defended there and a foul. Number 10, Chris Duff, was fouled on the play. Paul Nowak.
Yellow card has been issued to number 13 of the Thunder, Paul Nowak.
The referee making a decisive statement here today that he isn't going to let a lot of these cynical plays occur frequently. This game isn't going to be characterized by that, and these players better be careful.
Well, and he should, Christian. These are the types of plays which injure players. And a tackle from behind is just plain not necessary. Novak is quick enough to get around, defend, turn the ball, and make the player play it back to his own defense. It's not necessary at midfield to tackle a guy from behind. And so the referee making a statement. And if you remember, Morgan Ziba's tackle and yellow card was, again, at the midfield. So it's just plain not necessary.
Well, we have a replay of what happened here. Chris Duff is going in. And number 13, Paul Nowak, comes from behind and takes him down. Okay, looks like he did have the speed in order to get around him, but he decided to try and get him from behind again. And as you mentioned before, Jonathan, that the referee making a very decisive statement saying that we will not tolerate any such action.
And these types of mental mistakes, I mean, the ball was on the Indiana side of the field, so that there was plenty of opportunity and time for the Thunder players to recover. So that play was really not necessary tactically because it did not serve the Thunder. And as they head into the playoffs, we'll find out in a minute what the rules are. When players accumulate a certain number of yellow cards, it does affect their ability to play the next game.
Yeah, that's right, Christian. There is an accumulation. I did look back or take a glance at the defense. We had 5 defenders back marking, and it looked like the Thunder were very organized on defense. John Swallen was in good position in pointing out who was marking. Congratulations for a guy working hard, but it's an unnecessary tackle at midfield. And who knows? I mean, guys get out there and things happen so quickly. You know, they're just working hard to try and get the ball, but I guess one would serve themselves a little bit better by trying to get goal side and just turning the ball and seeing if he could get in there.
And clearly, as you indicated earlier, he did have the speed. He did have the speed to be able to overtake the gentleman who had the ball.
Chris Duff looks like he's up on his feet right now, and he is favoring his left leg. there was some warming up going on the sideline. Number 6, Matt Blackburn, is warmed up, but there's no indication as to whether or not Chris will be returning after taking just a moment to assess his injuries.
If he doesn't return, that would be a huge loss for Indiana. Christoph is a steady player, consistent on defense, very creative in his distribution. We've seen this evening how he's handled the defensive midfield role, making it easier for the Indiana defense to cover. Granted, the wind is quite strong and the Thunder's pacing of the ball has been suspect in spite of those beautiful drives. It's been very difficult to pace those drives consistently with the speed of the wind. We'll see what happens in this case, whether there's a major gap in the Indiana's defensive midfield area.
Number 18, John Pickup, to put the ball back into play. And Chris is allowed to go off the field as long as he can return as long as there is no substitute brought in his place.
And so far there is none. So Indiana is playing with 10 players on the field right now.
John Coughlin with the ball. Over to Sly. John Sylvester pushes the ball back over to Mike Gentile.
The Thunder moving the ball methodically, not hurrying it. A miscue there.
Ball's intercepted, but it's re-intercepted. And a shot. Number 16, Colin Bankoff, shoots it just wide.
Well, I don't think Bankoff hit it as well as he had hoped. But it's not a bad idea to start hitting some shots from outside, especially when you can drive them low and maybe catch the goalkeeper unawares of what's going on. I did like the way that the Thunder were methodically, as you say, Christian, climbing the field. They were pushing the ball from side to side, had Donnie Grimenz into the play, pulled it back through John Coughlin out to John Sylvester and back into the midfield. So very methodically pulling each other into the play and trying to develop something. And this is one of the things that the Thunder do very well.
The fact that the Indiana Blast have not replaced Christoph is an indication of the significance of his presence out there on the field.
Ziba with the cross.
They won't take a chance of subbing him until they are very certain that he won't be able to return.
Colin Bankoff playing the ball in the middle. Gerard Lago skating in on the play. Play broken up. Re-intercepted again by the Thunder. Paul Novak was fouled on the play. That looked like an unintentional one, and it wasn't a very dangerous foul, but Thunder will put the ball back into play. And it does look like number 10, Christoph, is prepared to come back on the field, and he is coming back on the field.
Well, Chris getting a touch of the magic sponge, pulls himself back into midfield. And I think you're right. At the time that he was out there, that minute and a half, the Thunder controlled the ball almost completely, and with ease, controlled the ball up the field.
Cross is cleared out, but controlled again by Minnesota. Johnny Sly does an unusual slip-up. Peter Ba on the ball. Once again, Peter Ba pushes it out for Casey Sweeney. Just a bit too far.
The corner kick coming up for
Defended there by Colin Bankoff. Corner kick for Indiana. Now the angle of the sun that John Swallen has potentially in his eyes, this could be a low-driven ball, could provide some problems. Number 17, Peter Ba with the kick. Cleared out by the Thunder. Tim Foster for Indiana is the only one back. Foster pushes up to Ba. broken up there nicely. John Sylvester in the ball. Mladenoff plays it forward to Sylvester, just a bit too far. John Menk was defending on the play. It'll be a throw-in for the Blast.
Throw-in for Indiana. Lights out. MSP has a new automated outage number for you to keep handy. During storms, MSP
Okay, it's time for trivia timeout. What year did Minnesota host the USISL All-Star Game, and who was the MVP? Once again, what year did Minnesota host the USISL All-Star Game, and who was the MVP? Jonathan, do you have the answer?
Well, no, but I'm wondering what type of prizes are awarded for the correct answer.
Well, we'll have the answer for you in 5 minutes. In about 5 minutes, a little bit later on in the game.
I hope it's a new signed soccer ball from the Thunder.
I think if you had gotten that one correct, then you would have won yourself an evening of babysitting for your 4-month-old daughter, whom you named Isabel, but we lovingly call Tinkerbell with her cute cheeks.
Easy.
Beautiful young girl.
There's an opportunity for the Indiana team.
John Swollen with the save. Manomi.
Well, that's a well-taken shot. It's driven hard and it's low, and it comes at a surprise. There, just after that, we're about to recognize him for his shot. He gets himself into the picture for a tackle there.
He fouled number 5, Mike Gentile. It'll be a free kick for Minnesota.
And earned a yellow card in the process.
Receiving the yellow card.
The ball is put back into play. John Swollen plays up to Mladenoff. Number 3, Paul Schneider, had an opportunity to be broken up. There's Christoph, who appears to be running once again. So it's amazing what those trainers can do with the magic sponge, as you said. Well, if the water's cold enough, well, you're going to get up.
Well, we joke a little bit about that, but there's also an adrenaline factor, and just Christoph just wants to play. So guys will overcome injuries, little nicks and knacks, and at the end of the game, I'm sure he'll be feeling it and putting it nice. So wish him the best there.
Mike Gentile plays it out to John Sly Sylvester on the outside. Mladenoff plays it back to the middle to Gentile. Gentile pushed off the ball. Gerard Lagos comes back in support. John Sylvester with the cross to Lagos in the middle. The header just a bit wide. Paul Schneider with the ball. Morgan Ziba in the cross. Tim Foster heading it out. The number 17, Peter Baugh, clears it outside. Quick restart by Minnesota. Here's Johnny Sly once again.
John hearing music in his head there.
Play broken up there by John Menk. Throw in for Minnesota. Morgan Ziba gives the ball to John Sylvester. Sylvester on the throw. Stoyan, Mladenoff. Mike Gentile has a shot blocked. Played back in by John Coughlin. Ball headed back to Broder.
The Thunder appear to have found their rhythm in those series of sequences there. The passes have been done with ease. They've weaved the ball through the Indiana attack, and that bodes well. If they can maintain that pace and the tempo, controlling it, then the Indiana would be in for quite some trouble.
Yeah, and Christian, just the little things that the players are doing to make themselves available for each other.
As Gerard Lagos gets fouled on the play. Had a good bit of footwork to get free.
Laughable there. But what they're doing, for instance, Mladenoff is coming back to the ball. He opens himself, gets himself 3, 4, 5 yards by coming back to the ball. And then he has the opportunity to turn or play it back immediately. In most cases, what's happening is the Thunder players are coming back to the ball and serving it right back. So it's going up and back and then being played through or to the next target. And it's very effective play. On the other hand, in the beginning of the game, we saw one or two instances where the players didn't quite come to the ball effectively and were getting stuffed or were having the defender strip it from them. So we made a little adjustment there, just technically, that makes all the difference in whether or not you're able to get to the ball.
John Sylvester had his pass intercepted by Chris Duff. Controlled there by Peter Ba. Pushes it too far. Easy one for John Swallen. Colin Bankoff controls for the Thunder defensively.
The other thing, Christian, I'm seeing a little bit more of as the minutes wear on is midfielders making those runs diagonally. So from the midfielder, let's say the left midfield through towards the right wing. And early in the game, we saw John Sylvester take a couple of runs through there, Morgan Ziba. But all of a sudden, we're seeing, for instance, Paul Nowak make his run through the midfield and up to the right wing.
Ball controlled by Gerard Lagos. Defended by Tim Foster. Played back out for the blast. The fans are attempting to get Minnesota into it. Minnesota seems to be playing very well, but right now hasn't provided much of a finishing touch. As the ball's played too far for Paul Schneider. Parrish takes the throw in for Indiana.
That's a good little win there.
And here's the opportunity. Paul Schneider brought the ball in, and Chuck Broder was able to come out and cut down his angle. Schneider believes he was fouled on the play, and he's a little bit slow to get up.
I'll get back into the play. Nice work there by Gerard Lagos to strip the ball and then play it in quickly. Unfortunately, it looked like a great opportunity for a goal.
Stoyan, Mladenoff with the ball in the middle. Leaves it for Mike Gentile. Once against Mladenoff. Cleared out nicely. Correction, this is Mladenoff here. Outside to Morgan Ziba. Drops it back to Johnny Sly. Sly with the cross. Cleared out. Number 19, Andy Parrish.
Now, John Sylvester, compliment him in the beginning for driving those, but in this particular case, it has to drive it back behind the defender and still at head height. Because the last 2 or 3 driven balls as crosses into the box have been at the defender. They have to be past the defender to make the defender spin.
Here's Gerard Lagos with an opportunity along the left side. Drive with the cross to the middle. Broken up. Mike Gentile. Ball being played there by Paul Novak. Kept alive by Gerard Lagos. Still alive by Gerard Lagos. Gerard Lagos maintains possession and a cross. Only one there is Peter Ba. Throw in here for Indiana.
John Sylvester passes it back to Swallen. Pressure has been put out there by Chad James. Thunder controlling in the midfield.
Here's Gerard Lagos. Defended there by John Pickup. Throw in for Minnesota. Okay. Once again, what year did Minnesota host the USISL All-Star Game, and who was the MVP? A night of babysitting is on the line here, Jonathan. Any guesses?
Might he be playing
well,
Tampa Bay?
He is playing for Tampa Bay. 1996 was the year, and someone who is very close to me. I call him little brother, although he makes me look a lot smaller than he is on the soccer field. Manuel Lagos was the MVP. Manuel was recently traded from Chicago Fire to Tampa Bay.
Kevin, surprising how good your little brother got at soccer, only eating Fritos corn chips.
Well, he fashioned his diet after what I eat.
Yeah, Fritos corn chips. Christian, what we've seen, a very direct approach in the most recent few attacks by the Thunder, straight up the middle, and they've abandoned the sort of approach of going from the back to targets up top.
That is because the Indiana team has covered those flanks by playing their midfielders wide and taking away those overlapping runs by the defender. By the Minnesota outside defenders. In this case, John Sylvester and Donny Grimmett. So they're showing their varied attack. There's an opportunity.
Morgan Ziba with the play.
Well, just as we talk about them abandoning that, they did try one and it nearly connected there. But it's nice to see the Thunder have the ability to respond and change the style so that they continue to create chances for themselves. In this case, instead of continuing to go over the tops or around the outside, a couple of runs by Stoyan in particular up the middle. What I was looking for right at the end there was a give and go. It's a simple play, and you practice it when you're 7 or 8 or 10 years old over and over and over, and we seem to abandon it when we get to the higher stages of soccer, but it's very effective when you get right to that last moment.
You can't help but give some credit or be impressed with how Indiana has managed to contain this Thunder varied attack, because as much as the Thunder has controlled the play territorially, they actually haven't created great chances. The goalkeeper has not been forced to make dramatic saves. That speaks for Indiana's containment.
Yeah, you're right, Christian, even though, and here we see another direct run right up the front.
Number 3, Paul Schneider, was called for offside.
Paul Schneider thinking he'd gotten himself into the box there.
For halftime, would you please go to the south end of the field next to the tunnel? Participants in the halftime Elks shootout. Shootout. Participants, south end of the field.
Well, fans, you might remember Mike Gentile, number 3. Correction, number 5 for the Minnesota Thunder, is playing for Milwaukee. But he was cut by Milwaukee while the Thunder was playing in Milwaukee, and the Thunder picked him up.
Those individuals, please meet next to the scoreboard.
John Sylvester with the ball to John Coughlin. To Mike Gentile. With 5 minutes left to go in the first half, the scores are 0-0. The Thunder have dominated much of this first half, but not a goal to show for at this time.
Yes, Christian, but most of the domination has been in midfield or possession and often playing the ball around the back. Although we have seen some good driven crosses coming in the early stages, and in the middle some direct attack, but really no quality scoring opportunities. And with the exception of one relatively weak shot, we haven't seen the Thunder take a couple of good opportunities and just hit the ball hard.
Tim Foster plays the ball back, controlled there by Broder, and played out. John Coughlin rises to the occasion, keeping the ball in the attacking half. Here's Don Grimmett. Ball's played outside. Here's a cross, cleared there by John Mink. Indiana pushes the ball up to the middle. And once again, Colin Bankoff keeps the ball in the attacking half. Colin Bankoff remaining with the ball. Don Grimmett has it. Played around to John Coughlin in the back. Johnny Sly, his name keeps on coming up. He's getting into the play. and playing very well. Number 11 is Mladenoff. Mladenoff with the cross. Cleared out. Peter Ba pushes the ball forward. And again, John Coughlin comes through, keeping the ball in the attacking half, but pushing the ball over the end line. It'll be a goal kick coming up for the Blast.
And this will be a goal kick for the Blast. Just another.
Now we've only got an unofficial time going on right now. The clock in the stadium is not working, so we can only give you an approximate time. And right now we have approximately 2 minutes remaining in the half, but that remains to be seen by what the referee decides to do down on the field.
And of course, the sun is down, so the referee's sundial may not be working.
Number 16, Colin Bankoff, attempted to clear the ball out to the side, but got the ball over the end line. It'll be a corner kick coming up for the Blast. Well, this could be a potentially dangerous situation. It's 0-0 coming to the close of the first half. Indiana has a corner kick, and it would not be a good thing to have them score so close to the end of the first half. Morgan Zeba with the clear. Paul Schneider giving chase. Tim Foster plays it back to Broder. And Schneider still giving chase, causing Broder to push the ball too far. Kept it nicely there by number 10, Chris Duff. A bit too far for Chad James of Indiana. Colin Bankoff pushes the ball too far. Throw in for Minnesota.
Throw in for the Minnesota Thunder.
Well, it looked good by Chris Duff.
Happy birthday wish.
However, these plays are really sort of in desperation, and you don't get that sense of desperation from Minnesota. You feel like they're just in command or in control and very composed still on the ball, and still have a purpose to what they're doing, and trying to, again, as you say, Christian, be very methodical in how they approach the game tactically. Whereas with Indiana, it seems a little bit sporadic. They've done a really nice job in defending and cutting down Minnesota's attacks. So Minnesota haven't been able to really get good shots on goal, but they've controlled the ball. Minnesota have controlled the ball in the half and have done a pretty nice job. But the last pass or two to get a free shot on goal has been lacking, and rightfully credit Indiana's defense. So the referee blows his whistle.
And that's the half. At the end of the half, your Minnesota Thunder 0, Indiana Blast 0.
And the Indiana Blast 0.
Well, it seems as though Minnesota controlled most of the tempo and controlled the tone of the game. But these are very dangerous type situations because one sporadic outburst from Indiana and they get a quick goal. And then all of a sudden, all that control really means nothing unless we get a good scoring punch.
That is correct. Frankly, the conditions made it very difficult to get complete control of the pacing at the beginning of the first half. Once the Thunder settled it down, they needed to be more creative on the attack because, as you indicated earlier, Jonathan and Kevin, with all of the control territorially, if you do not transform that into a goal, then you really have nothing to show for. And one has to give credit to Indiana. I mean, they're not showing any tiredness or laxity from having played a game yesterday in Milwaukee, a tough game at that.
Okay, once again, the score is 0-0. We have a very special halftime presentation coming up for you. Stay with us. Hello, this is Kevin Lagos coming to you from the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. Along with me, Dr. Krishna Kala and Jonathan James. We're back for the second half. The Minnesota Thunder is taking on the Indiana Blast. Right now we have a 0-0 score. What we're going to do is maybe take a look at some of the stats for throughout the first half. The number of fouls, the Blast had 10 fouls versus the Thunder only committing a foul 6 times. Each team had 2 yellow cards, 2 corner kicks for the Blast, 3 for the Thunder, and the Thunder outnumber the Blast in shots by the score of 2-1. As we begin the second half, each of the teams are taking the field now. The Thunder did have some trouble finding that finishing touch throughout the first half, but they had no trouble controlling the tempo of the game. They had no trouble controlling the ball. But give a credit to Indiana's defense for really holding them off. I've noticed one substitution thus far in the game. Number 22, Mike Saunders, is in the game, and I believe he's in for number 25, Gerard Lagos. As we get set to get underway, Jonathan, what are some of the things that the Thunder does need to do in order to secure a victory then?
Well, it's tough to say. It depends upon what Indiana throws at the Thunder and what changes or adjustments that Indiana makes. But certainly some of the things that have worked are getting the ball in behind defenders and making the defense spin. With Michael Saunders being inserted in the game, he's a very large target. Perhaps they're going to go over the top and see if they can get a couple of headers. They're very effective in climbing the field and being patient and methodical, but they have to get that last shot in. They have to be able to capitalize on opportunities in front of the goal. So how they create that, I'm not quite sure on the moment. We'll see what Indiana throws at the Thunder. And sometimes in these types of games, it's a break that no one anticipates. It's a stolen ball. It's a good work rate. It's somebody like Michael Saunders that goes in and just works, and all of a sudden strips the ball off a defender and catches the keeper unaware. So we'll just see how the things develop.
Okay, as we continue here, Don Gramentz brings the ball out of the defense for Minnesota back to John Swallen, showing a bit of confidence there. Swallen with the clear.
You're back, Mike. Still on your back.
And there's Mike Saunders with the ball. Tipped by Tim Foster, throw-in for Indiana. Taken by Foster. Number 7, Chad James, had control for a moment. And a shot by Moneme.
John Swallen making sure that it goes indeed over the goal and safely, so he's taking no chances there. Michael Saunders tried to turn on that, and had it worked, it might have put himself free. But in that position, he had not yet cleared himself from the defender by come back to the ball, so getting himself a chance to turn. So I'd like to see Michael Saunders up top in a little bit more of a striker or target role. And we just don't know where or what the objective of putting him in the midfield is on the moment, unless it's just coming back to help. So
Paul Novak with the clear, dumped back in by Indiana. It'll be a goal kick.
Shot by Indiana, headed for Spring Lake Park.
John Swallen to take the goal kick. Controlled there by Don Gramentz. Intercepted there by John Mink. Pushed a bit too far. And a clear once again. Colin Bankoff clears it out. It'll be a throw-in for Indiana. Number 9, Tim Foster.
In these situations, Christian, for the Thunder, John Coughlin and Bankoff have to really be able to cover both sides of the field with a couple of outside backs like Johnny Jimenez and John Sylvester.
Yes, indeed, especially because the Indiana Blast have the wind behind them. The Thunder are playing against the wind right now, so their passes are going to be slowed down considerably. They have to readjust. And Indiana appears to be on the attack in these early minutes of the second half. The Thunder just need to contain and be able to fend off the tempo and start building their own tempo.
Mike Gentile with the ball in the corner for the Thunder. Gentile gets himself free and across. Headed out nicely, controlled there by Paul Novak. Novak pushes it wide to Garanz. Garanz with another cross. John Mink with the clear. Mike Gentile fouled on the play, number 10, Chris Duff, with the foul.
Number 10 of Indiana, Chris.
Now, was it, Christian, perhaps you remember, as we look at this replay of the foul, was this Gentile who delivered the kick to, just gets himself in there, Chris Duff, but was it Gentile who delivered the kick to Chris Duff early in the first half, or in the middle of the first half?
No, I believe it was Morgan Ziba, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Ziba, it was Gentile.
It was Gentile. Okay.
So, but we can't really assume that Chris Duff had a little payback there.
Well, it didn't look like it to me. It looked as though he turned his ankle a little bit,
right,
as he got it caught between the turf and Chris's foot.
Well, Chris Duff not known to be a dirty player, so that we would assume not at all. That's just hard play.
The score remains 0-0. Morgan Ziba takes the ball down the line for the Thunder. Cleared out there by Foster. Broder with the punt. Offside is the call. Number 7, Chad James.
Offside called against.
Called for offside.
Indiana.
Well, that cross nearly worked. It was a well-delivered ball. It was well-paced and within inches of just going over the top. And, of course, at the back post was Michael Saunders, who has the size at 6'3" to be able to nod that into the back of the net.
Schneider with the cross. Cleared out there. Sweeney with the ball. And Don Gramentz with the shot. Oh, and a save by Chuck Broder. Don Gramentz just takes a rocket from about 25, 30 yards out. Broder has to make a diving save. It will be a corner kick for Minnesota.
This is precisely the type of opportunity that one needs to take. From the outside, Donnie Gramentz just took a chance at it. Now, had it gone in, that's great. If it doesn't, it still wins a corner. So this is a great opportunity to take.
Mladenov punched out there by Broder, kept alive and sent towards the heavens by Johnny Sly. Still in play though. Miss hit by Mladenov. It'll be a goal kick for Indiana.
Fans Nike sets out to build.
Great straight shot by Donnie Gramentz, the best we've had in the game so far, from about 25 yards out. The Thunder had tried some long probing balls but failed to connect quite a few times. But they started mounting the pressure. In fact, they are mounting the pressure much earlier on in the second half than when they began in the first half.
Ball played back in off the header by Gramentz. Small game of volleyball back and forth going on. Monebe. Ball still stays in play, defended there by Colin Bankoff. Just a bit too far for Gramentz. Crawford with the throw in for Indiana.
Well, the Indiana attack can be quite effective. The Thunder have to be very careful about allowing them to be isolated with the Thunder defense, because it only takes 1 out of 3 of such opportunities for the damage to be done.
Yeah, and right now Indiana seems to be content with trying this sort of boot it play from the back, or even from the goalkeeper straight up the middle. I don't think the Thunder are going to be caught napping on that. John Coughlin is just too steady a player and too much confidence and his ability to keep good position there. Just not going to be caught by a play like that.
Ball controlled by Novak, pressured there by Crawford. Throw in for Indiana.
Once again, a special thank you to Breathe Right for their sponsorship of
With approximately 38 minutes remaining in regulation, the score remains tied 0-0.
Breathe Right.
Minnesota Thunder 0, Indiana Blast 0. Ball headed back to John Coughlin by Colin Bankoff.
Again, the Indiana tactic of just delivering the ball all the way across the top. In certain instances, I guess that's an okay. If you catch the midfield and the defense napping, that might be a good play. But what we have here is John Coughlin and his ability to get back immediately. John Swallen always keeping his eye on what's going on. And I just don't think the Thunder are going to be beaten that way.
Mike Gentile plays the ball across to Sly. Cross cleared. It'll be a corner kick for Minnesota once again.
A corner kick for the Thunder.
Morgan Ziba will be taking the corner for Minnesota.
So Morgan Ziba is going to take this with his left peg. So he bends it away from the keeper.
His target was John Coughlin, just a little bit too far for John. Cleared out by the blast, and it'll be a corner kick from the other side for Minnesota. Stoyan Mladenov will be taking the corner for Minnesota. I'll bet his target once again will be John Coughlin. John Coughlin with the shot. Fantastic opportunity for the Thunder. Chuck Broder comes up. Coughlin did a wonderful job getting to the ball.
That's a very skillful play there by John Coughlin and a great save by the keeper. You actually congratulate the keeper on that one, because no one saw it coming. It was a half volley on the turn, and it was perfect.
We're going to go ahead and take another quick look at that. Watch John Coughlin as he comes around the middle, gets himself to a position where he can take the shot, and just a quick shot. Browder happened to be right there. And just in case, Mladenov was there for any sort of rebound. Crawford with the ball. Gets by Gremens. Crawford still going outside, and the cross. Cleared nicely there by Bankoff. Now we have a corner kick coming up for Indiana. Well, we went from a quick opportunity for the Thunder and a fantastic shot to a counter, and now we are down after the counterattack. Corner kick for Indiana. Number 17, Peter Ba, to take the corner. Mike Saunders gets up, and fouled on the play was John Swallen.
John Swallen was the recipient of a sort of slam dance there, so
21 of Indiana,
taking a free kick from that point. And again,
Swallen on the quick return. Paul Novak had his shirt held a little bit there. Free kick for Minnesota, put back into play by Novak.
Called, number 10 of Indiana, Chris Duff.
Chris Duff called for that foul. And here's Mike Saunders with a shot. Oh, off the post. Wonderful opportunity for Minnesota, and they just weren't able to capitalize. Mike Saunders with his hands on his head.
well, as we look at the replay, I think Mike Saunders knows that this should have been a goal. This is a ball delivered by John Sylvester over to Morgan Ziba, who drives it across. It finds its way all the way through to Michael Saunders, who sets it down and tries to just go on the near post, or just inside the near post. Unfortunately, hits the post. And Kevin, that should have been a goal.
It absolutely should have been a goal, and the Thunder really needs to capitalize on those types of opportunities. I think that was one of the better opportunities aside from Don Gremens' shot. We have a substitution in the game. Replacing number 3, Paul Schneider, is one of the Minnesota Thunder favorites, number 7, Amos McGee. Goal kick is taken. Mladenov back pressuring. Monime gets the ball put ahead and takes one of those desperation shots. It'll be a goal kick coming up for the Thunder. John Swallen has a little bit of a superstition. He likes to play the same ball. Whatever ball has gone out, he will generally try and favor and get that ball back into play. It didn't happen this time.
These two teams playing end-to-end. This is reminiscent of two teams that are comfortable with the elements out there now. They have completely found their footing. And now the tactics, team strategy, will be what determines this game.
Number 17, Peter Ba, pushes the ball forward. Again for the blast. No one there to collect. The nearest player was number 7, Chad James, who didn't make an effort. Don Gremens with the ball in the control. being pressured there.
Unfortunate touch by Donnie Vermens. So, Christian, as you talk about the two teams playing from end to end here, I think nice little bit of footwork there.
Mike Saunders is very deceptive with his size. He's very big, but he's also very quick.
It's good bit of footwork. Well, one thing that I've noticed is the Thunder seem to be pulling up quite a bit their defense and compressing at least their end of the field before they drop back. And what this does, it allows a good bit of support, but it also compresses the midfield and the defense together. So,
just to give you an indication of what the wind is like, Broder was able to kick the ball, and off of one bounce, it went to John Swallen.
Please rise as we honor America's gymnasiums with the playing of the Run.
Don Gremens plays the ball forward. Here's Mladenov, back to Gremens. Gremens free, he's dangerous from this. Loses the ball, however. Christoph with control. Ball played to Lauren Crawford. Up to John Mink. Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, if you have any questions regarding the Minnesota Thunder, if you want tickets to any future games, you can contact the Thunder in two ways. One of them is to call them at 612-785-FOOT. That's 612-785-3668. Or you can contact the Thunder online. Their email address is www.mnthunder.com. Once again, that's www.mnthunder.com.
Should the Thunder win this game, they will be first in the Central Division, ahead of the US Pro team, which has controlled this division since May the 2nd.
And right now, Indiana is fighting for a playoff spot. And after their loss last night in Milwaukee, they are really attempting. And the shot for Mike Saunders.
Another
Saved
great
there by Broder.
Another great opportunity. A quick turn by Amos McGee and a timely pass, which actually beat Indiana trying to play the offside trap. Mike Saunders himself may have been surprised that the ball just showed up, and in the process the goalie was injured, or appears to be, in what appears to be a collusion with Mike Saunders.
Christian, if we can get a chance to look at the replay and see what happens, Amos McGee sends a deft little pass through, and it looks like Michael Saunders, after the ball, inadvertently catches him with the sole of the foot across the cheek. That's not a pleasant thing to have happen, and I hope that goalkeeper is okay. It looks like he's up and bouncing around. But Michael Saunders taking a very powerful shot at things here and trying to use power to basically put it underneath the goalkeeper and into the back of the net.
Corner kick is taken. John Coughlin sends the ball just over the net.
What is nice to see at this point is that the Thunder are creating some opportunities, and by slipping that ball through, the creative play of Amos McGee really set up Michael Saunders inside the box. And again, a second opportunity inside the box like that probably should have been a goal.
There are openings in the Indiana defense, and the Thunder are finding them with some very creative passes, and timely as well.
Well, it's important that the Thunder get a quick goal in order to sort of stave off the threat of a long ball, which seems to be working to Indiana's advantage right now. Don Gremens with the ball, plays it to Amos McGee. Amos McGee retains control in the attacking end, looks for support back, finds it in Colin Bankoff. Colin Bankoff plays it up to Johnny Sly Sylvester. John Coughlin pushes it ahead. Nobody home. John Mink plays it back to Broder. Pressured there by Saunders. Saunders once again. And Morgan Ziba gets in on the play.
Christian, a classic example of the difference in the play at this moment. When that ball was played back by Indiana to its goalkeeper, that outlet pass was still to a player under pressure. And so the desperation of Chris Duff is really to to lob the ball into the air, and look what happens. The Thunder are all over it on defense, collapsing. Whereas when the Thunder are playing the ball out to the outside backs, from the goalkeeper, from the defense, it's to open wing backs, and they're making runs up the line, like Donnie Grimenz or Johnny Sylvester, getting opportunities. And that's a major, major difference in the game.
A good move by Grimenz to get the cross, and Mike Saunders puts the ball just over. Looks like he tried to get up and he got underneath the ball rather than getting over the ball. But these are the types of opportunities that Minnesota does really need to capitalize on.
They're creating them, and that's what is important. The law of averages would suggest that sooner or later it's a matter of time.
Broder is pushing his forwards as far forward as he possibly can, as far forward as the defense will allow. And once again, a long kick collected defensively by John Coughlin. Played out to Don Grimenz for Minnesota.
Minnesota now is exercising total mastery over the Indiana team, although they have nothing to show for. The chances, many more chances in the first 15 minutes or so of this game than in all of the first half.
Well, with approximately 27 minutes to remain in the game, the score remains tied 0-0. This is your Minnesota Thunder Network. Broder collects the ball. And what do you think? It'll be a punt as far down the field as he can go?
Well, he uses the wind to his advantage.
Well, they don't, Indiana doesn't really have too much of an effect in the midfield at this point in time, and so this is probably their best opportunity to attempt a goal. But as you indicated, the Thunder seem to be collapsing very nicely defensively and picking up on any loose ball as the ball's cleared out.
It is true. Kevin, I was once in a game where our college coach removed the midfield, and we played with 5 defense and 5 forwards, and it was precisely this type of game. And believe me, it seemed absolutely wacky, but it worked, because in a game like this, if the wind is at your back and you're really not creating much in the midfield, and you're just going to bypass the midfield anyway, as the Indiana team seemed to be doing, then it would seem, if you're going to punt it into the other end, to try and get some players up there to create a numerical advantage. So I don't know what Indiana's tactic really is with doing that, but it doesn't seem to be creating anything in the moment.
Stoyan Mladenov with the cross for Mike Saunders. Rising up to the challenge was Chuck Broder, goalkeeper for Indiana. Once again, I'm Kevin Lagos, along with Dr. Krishna Kala and Jonathan James. Moneme defended on the field. Played out. Here comes Amos McGee with the ball. Amos with a good little pass ahead for Ziba. Morgan with the cross. Mike Saunders, just a bit too far for him. Here's McGee once again. John Coughlin closes defensively, and he gets a little bit of help there. Number 7, Chad James, is called for holding. Called for the foul. He grabbed onto the shoulder. Mike Gentile gets the ball out, and Amos McGee with an opportunity. Went off the back of the head of Tim Foster.
Christian, that was a great service by Donnie Grimenz across the top, bending away from the goalkeeper, and far enough that it forced the defender to spin, and yet it was out of his reach.
You congratulate the defender on that play, Tim Foster, whose very timely jump intercepted that header, beautiful header from Amos McGee. He neutralized it. Another Minnesota product.
Colin Bankoff plays the ball forward in front of a crowd of 3,036 here at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. Mike Saunders with, just a bit wide. Fantastic opportunity for Saunders. I didn't get a chance to see who delivered that ball.
Amazing heads-up play. Actually, that was a support pass to the keeper from one of the defenders. And Mike Saunders was able to exercised great judgment and timing in getting to the ball before the keeper with his long legs, long strides. It barely sailed out of the goal.
And this is what we talked about at the beginning of the half. It's just that type of surprise. A good work rate and a surprise can end up in a goal. And so this is what the Thunder need to do. Keep doing the creative things to get themselves open and continue to work hard for those opportunities.
Monebe with the cross.
Well, the linesman has the flag up for the offside, and the referee has now recognized the offside call.
Jonathan, I noticed that you did not say offsides as I slipped up in the very beginning of the game. That is a common misconception. It is not offsides, but in fact, it would be called offside.
Well, we used to joke it's tough to be off on both sides at once. So you're off on this side or that side, but not off on both sides.
Oh, and an opportunity there for Chad James. Very lucky for the Minnesota Thunder. He sent that ball skyward.
Well, a little reminiscent of Baggio's penalty kick there. He puts it over the top from the penalty spot. And if we can look at the replay, James should have done better than that. We disclaim him now. He's not one of us. But he should have done better with this opportunity. Comes into our picture with the left foot and essentially clears it. Unlucky for him, good for the Thunder.
It looked out like what could have been a foul called on Mike Saunders. I'm not entirely certain whether it just wasn't called or if the referee just played the advantage. The advantage ended up being Minnesota's as we put it back into play near midfield. Here comes Colin Bankoff with the ball. Leaves it there for Paul Novak. Paul Novak loses the ball and is called for a foul. Number 5, Lauren Crawford fouled on the play. Minnesota's next home game will be Wednesday, August 18th against the U.S. Pro 40 Select at 7:05 p.m. That game will be tape delayed. It'll be tape delayed cable cast.
And an important game for the Thunder, seeing as the Pro 40 Select have more points in the standings at the moment, pending the outcome of this game.
Mike Saunders with the interception here. Able to keep the ball in play? I guess not. The referee is watching a different game than am I. Substitution is being indicated. Number 13, Paul Novak, is going to be replaced by number 9, Luis La Bastida. An additional substitution. Number 6, Matt Blackburn, will be going in for number 5 for Indiana, Lauren Crawford.
Also, substitution for Indiana, number 6, Matt Blackburn. Enters the game for number 5, Lauren Crawford.
Back to action here. Don Gramentz takes the ball, plays it out wide, and it'll be a corner kick coming up for Indiana.
Well, Donnie Gramentz playing it safely off his chest and out of bounds there. The Thunder pulling every player back on this corner. All 11 players.
Blackburn with the corner. John Swallen with the save. John Mink with a little flick on. Not much power behind it, but it was just enough to put a little scare in the crowd.
Well, John Mink with a clever touch there. It was disguised, and it was difficult for John Swallen to get a quick read on it because it was basically coming over the top of the defender. So unsighted, John Swallen makes a nice little save, and then the Thunder break out.
Colin Bankoff plays the ball in.
Well done, Beach. Good step.
And Minnesota played the offside trap very nicely.
Who overheard the coaching staff say, well done, Beach. John Coughlin stepping up and really pulling the offside trap. But this seems to be the tactic that Indiana's doing. Very direct, trying to go over the top or through, working for basically a breakaway.
La Bastida with a little good bit of footwork gets the ball into Morgan Ziba. Correction, Mike Gentile. And Amos McGee with the ball in the box. Broken up there by number 19, Andy Parrish. Corner kick for Minnesota.
So Amos wins a corner. Again, Morgan Ziba on the corner, looking to drive it. I guess he's going to have La Bastida take it.
Now, if you notice, Amos McGee is not very tall, yet he is right on the keeper, Chuck Broder. He's pulled away, just put in there just to be a little bit of a bother, to give him something to think about. Morgan Ziba misses on his delivery. Played back in by John Sylvester. La Bastida with the ball again, causing his defender to trip, and another opportunity, a missed opportunity for Minnesota.
The way that guy was yelling and screaming, and your official was standing right there, I thought he...
Christian La Bastida there, a very, very nice outside of the foot pass.
Quite a deft player with 60 minutes left in the game. It is still tied 0-0. Minnesota Thunder versus the Indiana Blast. Minnesota has had 3 substitutes, and even those substitutes are doing exceedingly well on the field. The depth of this team is the envy of many a club in the USISL, actually the A-League.
That is correct. Right now they're showing the head coach for the Indiana Blast, Jimmy McDonald, head coach of the Minnesota Thunder, as once again another person who's very near and dear to me, Manuel Buzz Lagos. John Mink is off on the side right now. He apparently has a bit of a cut on his forehead or on his eyebrow. If it's actively bleeding, they won't allow him to continue playing. And my correction is that the player is not John Mink who is on the side, but it is number 19, Andy Parrish.
The Thunder on the move again, a promising opportunity here. Amos McGee deep in the net.
Play broken up nicely. Amos still has the ball, looking for a cross again. Here's John Sylvester with the shot. Broder with another save. Now I just want to take this quick opportunity because I'm not sure how many more games I'll get to do. But I'll save this game on tape. And right now I'm looking at my young 14-month-old daughter, Sarah. So Sarah, when you're old enough to understand this, hello from Daddy. Now from that important matter, back to important matters down in the field. The fans are getting into the game. Mike Saunders received the ball from number 21, Don Grimentz. Morgan La Bastida plays it out to Sly. Sly over to Stoyan Mladinov. Ball cleared out nicely. Once again, Johnny Sly Sylvester. Ball put in the middle to Indiana, and the ball's cleared once again.
Well, Indiana relieves the pressure by just playing it out, and it rolls across the touch line. And what you saw there were 5 players inside the box looking for a cross or a driven ball of some sort. So the Thunder really pulling a lot of players into the attack.
Andy Parrish looks like he's ready to come back into the game, but he had a little bit of blood on his shirt, so therefore he is going to be wearing number 4. So if I inadvertently call him Jeff Dresser, try and stay with me. Number 6, Matt Blackburn, called for a foul. Stoyan Mladinov fouled on the play. Don Grimentz will put it back in play for Minnesota. Here's Mladinov. Grimentz with the ball to La Bastida, who loses it. This is number 3, Casey Sweeney. Defended nicely there by Donnie Grimentz. Blackburn drives the ball to the middle, blocked there. And picked up, nope. John Swallen, the goalkeeper for the Minnesota Thunder, allowed it to go over the end line.
Well, what Donnie Grimentz did well there, unfortunately, misplayed a ball, but immediately got on his horse and really worked himself back into a position goal side without creating a foul, unnecessary. Got himself into a position of just playing good defense. And that's the type of real strong mental and physical play that the Thunder should be capable of.
And that kept Indiana from getting an opportunity to organize an attack from a free kick in the attacking end of their field. Good bit of skill and a cross here. Ball collected after the clear by Don Gremens.
Morgan Ziba with that deftness out there.
Mike Saunders with the header and just wide.
Well, Mike Saunders slipping in between the defense and nodding that ball just wide of the post, his third excellent opportunity. And what I like about Michael Saunders, he's really working for those opportunities. If we can get a chance to look at that replay.
Mike Saunders looks like he really created this opportunity. He didn't really have too much, but he was able to get to the ball and just put it wide. He was defended there by number 6, Matt Blackburn, who probably did just enough to keep Mike Saunders from actually scoring on that play. Blackburn with the ball now, pushing it ahead to Chad James, that is. Don Gremens with the block. Throw-in now for Indiana. With just about 12 minutes remaining in the game, the score remains Indiana Blast 0, your Minnesota Thunder 0.
The linesman lifting his flag for offside one more time. Christian, as you've observed the flow of this game and the tactics employed to try and work for a goal for the Thunder, what can they do now? How would you solve this defense?
Well, I just keep creating those chances, encouraging them to be creative up front there, and to be a little more patient inside the penalty box. Clearly, some of the goals haven't come because the first touches were not good enough. At this level, you should be able to bring the ball down right where you want it, deep inside the penalty box. Now there's an opportunity. Donny Gremens, Mike Saunders, Gremens. It's cleared off there.
Tim Foster, correction, on the clear. La Bastida, once again, defended there by Matt Blackburn and cleared. And Mika Monami has a ball and an opportunity. Left all wide open and all alone. John Swollen with the save. Off of the shot by number 7, Chad James.
A wonderful save by John Swollen. That might well be the game-saving save. I talked earlier about the dangers of isolating the defenders one-on-one.
As we look at it one more time.
And what can happen? That's a point-blank shot right there. A dramatic save there by the keeper.
Chad James was left all alone. And one of those opportunities, pushing the ball through, almost paid off for Indiana. And time again this season, John Swollen has come through in a clutch for the Thunder as he did there.
You know what happened in that play? As soon as the ball was controlled, one of the Thunder defenders left his person to go assist the other and left a person, Chad James, wide open. And that's how he had the opportunity for that one-on-one, a point-blank shot on goal.
Wide enough for the cross. Here's Mike Saunders with the ball. Saunders with the shot off the crossbar and headed back in. Chuck Broder.
Well, with 9 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second half, Mike Saunders takes an opportunity, bends it over the keeper and hits the crossbar. A near miss again for Michael Saunders, but he's working himself into those situations where getting an opportunity.
Stoyan Mladinov plays it back to Don Gremens. Gremens changes direction. Plays it back up to Gentile. Deflected off of an Indiana player. Mladinov to take the throw for Minnesota. Gentile plays it back to Stoyan. There's Colin Bancroft. Amos McGee called for offside. That time he did get caught in the offside trap. The ball to be put back into play by John Pickup. Jeff Dresser, one of the substitutions. Correction. That's not, I see, I told you to kind of hang with me. That is not Jeff Dresser. I should just put Andy Parrish's name by the number 4. That way I won't forget.
Well, the goalkeeper did well to cut that ball out. Again, Michael Saunders with his 6'3" frame, bearing in on the goal and ready to knot it into the back of the net. A nice cross there with Morgan Ziba. Did well to get his ball bent away from the keeper, and yet the keeper did well to come out and take it away.
Morgan Ziba called for the foul there against Tim Foster. Andy Parrish to put it back into play for Indiana. They got it right that time. John Sylvester with the ball. Gentile has the ball in the middle now. Pushes it across to Gremens. Gremens controls, bringing it down to Mladenov. Mladenov hit pretty hard. No foul was called. And Monebe. Nothing can stop him except for his own 2 feet. Trips up as the Thunder regains control in the attacking half. Morgan Ziba. Back to John Sylvester. This is John Coughlin now with the ball. Ball kept in play by Amos McGee, then cleared out by Indiana. No one up front for them. Minnesota Thunder play at home against the U.S. Pro Select 40. Wednesday the 18th with approximately 5 minutes remaining in the game. The score remains tied 0-0. Then they have a couple games on the road. Saturday the 24th at Cincinnati Riverhawks. The 22nd at Indiana Blast. Then the 27th at Nashville Metros. And then once again the 28th at Cincinnati Riverhawks. Then Friday, the 3rd, they come back home, they play against the Milwaukee Rampage, and then the 5th, they play at Milwaukee Rampage. Looks like Indiana will get their chance to play Minnesota after they've had just one night's rest. When they play Indiana on the 22nd, that'll be right after the 21st Cincinnati Riverhawks game. Here's Don Gremens now. Don Gremens showing a bit of speed, covered there by Tim Foster. Nice little nifty play by Gremens, who gets it back out to La Bastida. La Bastida with the cross and header just a bit wide.
A very beautifully choreographed sequence of plays. The ball zigzagged from one end of the field to the other angle, and the barely missed. Here's the opportunity here.
The ball's played back in. Here comes Gremens on the cross. He gets around Tim Foster. Tim Foster goes down. Nifty bit of moves to keep the ball in play. Pushes it back out. And here we have La Bastida, who pushes the ball across to go just a bit wide. Amos McGee now back to live play, has an opportunity, puts the ball over the goal.
Well, this time Michael Saunders on the delivery end of the pass. He went around the defense on the outside and played the ball to Amos McGee, who rarely misses at that range. Amos hit it with a lot of velocity, but unfortunately missed the upper corner.
I noticed Amos's head coming up, which is a pretty good indication that the ball is going to go up as well, just before he hit it. Once again, here's Amos McGee. The ball across to John Sylvester. Johnny Sly gets the ball tripped up in his own 2 feet. And a long clear by Indiana. However, John Coughlin is back, able to get the ball up to Johnny Sly.
The wind has subsided considerably, so there is no advantage of either playing against it or with it behind any one of the teams.
With about 3.5 minutes remaining in the game, the score remains tied 0-0. Minnesota Thunder having possession of the ball in the attacking half of the field. This is Don Grimenz with the ball. Don Grimenz with the cross. Morgan Ziba gets shouldered off the ball. Cleared out.
The fans are official attendance for tonight's match is 3,086. The Minnesota Thunder, the Blaine Sports Center, and
If the game remains tied at the end of regulation, they will have one 15-minute sudden death overtime period. And if the game is still tied after that, they will go into a shootout. On the year, Minnesota has won 3 shootouts and lost 4.
Now, Thunder fans, turn your attention down to the track where Thor is holding this year's brand new autograph poster. It was tonight after the game for $1.
Of course, we were sort of left speechless for a couple of moments as the game tends to wind down in its last half a minute here before the sudden victory. Overtime. And in this case, the back pass narrowly missed an own goal. Sort of inexplicably played over John Swallen's head and almost placed it in the back of the net. The Thunder have worked extremely hard trying to create something all game and don't have much to show for it. They had some great opportunities in the second half and still 0-0. The opportunities taken by Michael Saunders, we have to believe, as a referee blows his whistle, that 1 or 2 of those could have been a goal, Christian, from that close range.
And that is the end of regulation. Marcel Yonen has called the end of regulation. We will now go into a 15-minute overtime period.
And this would be with the golden goal, as it's called in FIFA.
That is correct. They no longer call it sudden death, but they do call it the golden goal.
The Thunder played extremely well, and they have everything in the statistical columns to show for that what counts the most.
Okay, at the end of regulation, the score: Minnesota Thunder 0, Indiana Blast 0. We will be right back after these messages. Okay, we're back. This is Kevin.
We might say, on the one opportunity that James had, the collapsing 2 on the one play where the ball simply slipped to the side and James had an opportunity to put over the top. That could have been a goal. So let's see if the Thunder can correct that and give a little bit more support in the back.
And as we get underway here in the golden goal 15-minute overtime period, the ball's placed up to number 22, Mike Saunders. Saunders pushes the ball back, intercepted there by Casey Sweeney. Challenged nicely by John Sylvester. Indiana is able to get it out. This is Matt Blackburn. And pushed ahead again. This is Morgan Ziba. Taking his time, and with the clear, up to Amos McGee. A bit too far for McGee. Andy Parrish defends on the play. Misheader by Gentile. Once again, Parrish for the Blast with the ball. As the fans try and rally the Thunder, get behind them and cheer for them just a little bit. It'll be a throw-in taken by John Sylvester. on the far side of our field. Foul is indicated. John Sylvester called for that foul. Number 10, Chris Duff, apparently fouled on the play. It'll be a free kick for the Blast.
Christian, what's interesting to me anyway is that the Thunder don't seem to have come out with the sense of urgency to score a goal. It seems almost a little bit static.
That is true. It might also be what Indiana is giving them out there.
Tim Foster now for the Blast, attempts to keep it in play. Chris Duff pushes it wide for Matt Blackburn. John Swallen, a little bit of a miss hit, and looks like we have a goal. Amika Moneme, 8 minutes into the overtime period, on a miscue by the Minnesota Thunder, has scored. And the final score, your Minnesota Thunder 0, Indiana Blast 1.
Unfortunate, as we look at the replay, just some poor communication. The ball lofted up, defender going one-on-one with the offensive player, gets a little tangled up. John goes for it, it comes off the defender's head, and unfortunately, fortunately for Indiana, he's standing there to sort of poach himself a goal into the back of the net. You can see the Thunder hang their heads. They certainly played a better game, had the majority of the play. How do you explain something like that?
Well, the ball was actually very well placed in that the attacker, Monemi, was able to seal John Coughlin off the ball. So in that case, what a defender wants to do is to run around to offer support to the goalkeeper. This did not occur. The keeper and the defender, John Coughlin, went for the same ball, and the recipient or the beneficiary was the Indiana player. He lobbed it into an open net, into a gaping net, putting it where every Indiana player tonight would want to see it. And the Thunder lose the game 1-0 on a very unfortunate, after a game in which they played exceedingly well and actually deserved to win it.
Yeah, it's you can just tell by the way the Thunder players are hanging their heads off this. They really played some marvelous stuff, some great opportunities, a post, a crossbar, a couple of headers just missed. Amos McGee hitting a header that hit the defender, a couple of saves. Really, that was the second, maybe the third opportunity that Indiana had, and yet Indiana comes away with the win and the points. And you can see, I mean, here's the way the Thunder are sort of hanging their heads on the field and walking off. They know that they should have had this game. It's a game that they should have won, and played well enough in the second half, creating opportunities.
Well, this is soccer. This is the game of soccer. That is how it happens sometimes. The Thunder played the game this evening, and the Indiana Blast won it. Our colleague, Kevin Lagos, has gone down to the field, and in a moment, we will be bringing you a live interview between Kevin Lagos and one of the Thunder players. Stay tuned.
Well, we're back with the Indiana Blast coming away with a 1-0 overtime victory, a golden goal, inexplicably. And we throw it down to Kevin Lagos, who is with Coach Buzz Lagos for a little after-game wrap-up.
Okay, I'm down here on the field with head coach of the Minnesota Thunder, Buzz Lagos, a man who is very close to me. I call him Dad. Kind of a disappointing end to a game that the Thunder really dominated. What would you say happened today?
Well, we really created lots of great chances to score, and Mike Saunders had, I thought, 6 great opportunities, and to his credit, he created them, was in the right spot, in the right place, but he just didn't get it in, and that hurt our team. We needed to finish the chances before. We ran into a fluky goal like they got near the end, and that's happened in a game where the wind is relatively strong, the bounce is difficult to read for John Swallen. He's played a great game overall, but just was tough in that last one to give up a goal like that and lose.
What does this mean for you for the rest of the season? Now, I know you have one more home game, and then you're on the road for a couple. in order to catch the US 40 Pro Select, what would you say the team needs to do throughout the remainder of the games?
Well, right now we're 15-6. We have 7 games. I think if we win 5 of our 7, we'll finish ahead of Pro 40. And I think we can do that.
Okay. Do you have any other comments that you'd like to mention regarding the play? As you said, Mike Saunders did have a very good game. Anything else about the game today?
Well, as I said, it's only one game, and we're 15-6. We wanted to win this one to get in first place and take charge of our division. It didn't happen. That's the nature of sport sometimes. It doesn't always come out the way you want it to come out. But I think we're still in a great position to make a great run for the division title and to finish the season off strongly for the playoffs.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on a well-played game. Unfortunate end. I'm down here on the field once again with Manuel Buzz Lagos, where the Minnesota Thunder has unfortunately, on a fluke goal, lost to the Indiana Blast. I'm going to send it back up to you, Jonathan James.
Well, Kevin, unfortunately, we wanted it to be sudden victory. This was sudden death for the Thunder, and Coach Lagos really put his stamp on it. This is one game. There are 7 left. He really believes we can win 5 of the next 7. The Thunder still are in good position, have a good, strong hold on the standings. He believes that they can catch the U.S. Pro 40 in the standings and finish ahead of them. He has a good perspective. This is only one game, and knows that the Thunder played well. I'm sure he's disappointed for his players and understands having players go through weeks of training and they really want to play well. He did point out a couple things. Michael Saunders playing reasonably well, hitting the post and crossbar. So all in all, sort of a lukewarm reception to a game that the Thunder didn't win.
Well, that's the way of life, isn't it?
That's it. Well, for Christian Akale and Kevin Lagos, this is Jonathan James. We'll go to a break.
The Minnesota Media Archive is brought to you by North Metro TV. Your support helps make the archive possible. If you like this video, please consider a one-time donation.